Alright everybody, welcome back once more for this next video. Rifleman is nothing without a rifle. That's why we got a couple of things here for you. So there's a lot of options on the US side of things, but primarily what you're really going to want to look for is a 30-06 rifle, being the 1903, kind of like what Private Brull over here is holding, or Garand, the M1. That's what I'm holding. Vast majority of the US troops, this is what they use in battle, the M1 Garand. So this is the one that I highly recommend everyone going after. If you have the money to go after something really fancy like a BAR or a Thompson, then you're more than welcome to go that route, but check in with your unit. Those specialty weapons are more down the line. So, if you're doing a more early war impression, an 03 is actually a fairly good option. Not necessarily the A3 that Private Brull is holding, but the slick 1903. You can tell because of the rear sights. You've got the big ladder sight instead of the ones on the receiver, kind of like what he's got. There'll be close-ups later. The rear sight is all the way back here on this one. For the most part, they're functionally the same. 5 shots, 30-06 bolt-action rifle. If you look at the bolts, they're almost identical. They do the same purpose, except the 03s have been around since World War I. The A3, if I remember correctly, came online in late 43. I did not see a lot of combat action with anyone outside of like rear echelon troops, MPs, that kind of thing. I believe some Navy units got them too, like the Seabees. But the 03 is actually a good choice for the entirety of the war if you are so inclined, especially if finances are involved in that one. One of the best things you can do is if you can find a reproduction of the grenade launcher, boom, there you go. Grenadier, you got the whole war covered. If not, a regular 03 should do you just fine. They're lighter, they're easier. Early war, the machine gun crews, that's actually what they were issued until the carbines started becoming much more prevalent. And as a reminder, we don't carry anything like this. Barrel up, port arms. Cool. Alright. The M1 sling on this one right now, because everything is named M1. This is more of a later version. It's not my favorite. I much prefer the leather. However, I do understand why people use this one. It is a lot easier to use.
Much easier.
Alright. And I would be remiss if I do not talk about Private Brull's favorite, the 03A4. Now, US did not really invest in snipers as much as a lot of the other countries did. So you'll see like all these famous Soviet snipers and everything. I've got it pointed up, you're fine. You'll see a lot of Soviet snipers and German snipers and all that kind of stuff, and there's trainings and all that other neat stuff out there for you to really work on your impression. We didn't do that. This is pretty much a, Private Brull, you're a really good shot. Trade rifles with me. Sniper program graduate right there. That's pretty much the only thing that went on with that one, so you're not going to find a lot about it. There were, I believe, 2 or 3 issued at a company level. Honestly, it's not really a great sniper. It was a 2.5x scope, and that's it. Everyone else about that time was about a 4 or even higher. And if you can tell the similarities, they pretty much yanked the rear sight off, put a scope on there, and took the front sight off. That's all they did. It's a very simple machine. It gave you a little bit more accuracy, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Why does that matter as a reenactor is the question. This, outside of a public battle, is only going to give you a handicap. Yeah, you'll get some cool guy points, sure. But at the end of the day, you cannot use stripper clips with them. They are incapable of receiving it. You have 5 shots, you're at bolt action. That's it, okay? You don't have to worry about blank charges. What that means is the strength of the blank, because there's no restrictor required for these. If it fits, it ships, as long as it's 30-06. Don't go too crazy on me. But again, 5 rounds, that's it. Each individually loaded. It's a pain.
Yeah.
And which brings us to the venerable M1, known as the greatest weapon ever devised by our favorite General Patton. 8 rounds, semi-automatic. Now, these are fantastic. If you can get in with the civilian marksmanship program, you'll actually get a really good price on one of these. It can take some time, some paperwork, and some requirements, but it's one of the best avenues to get them. When you're looking at a reenactor side of things, you don't need the pristine International Harvester all matching. That's not really a great idea. What you want is the Springfield arms that's got a Winchester here, a Springfield there, and a unmarked part there. As long as it works right, that's what's important. Alright, so these also require a blank adapter. I have one on here. This is one of the shorter ones. They've got them all the way out to this length, and you got the nice, really short ones like this. This is one of the best ones because it's adjustable. It's just a fantastic option. Now, you've heard the term grand thumb. I'm not going to make you demonstrate, I promise. Thank you. So, if you go online, which pocket? This pocket. And have a 3D printer, you can actually get files to make yourself a practice loading end block. It's basically one of the rounds is cut out so the bolt can slide forward. And with this, you can actually do some good training. As you can see, I'm not wearing a cartridge belt, but Private Brull is, and he's going to demonstrate a little bit more in depth here in just a moment. But you can take one of these, slide it on in, and try not to get your thumb caught in the process. When you're done, there you go. Practice over. So when you're doing these practice loadings, you don't want to just stand there, do your thing, practice loading. You want to actually get in positions that you're going to find yourself in. So when you do these practices, get down on one knee, everything like that. Get all nice and tight, reach into your belt, load it in there, get back up. Go to the prone position, every position you may find yourself in, and make sure you go on the left and the right side of the belt. Because if all you do is practice on the right, and you're going through winter line or something like that, and you're running out of ammo, next thing you know, you're reaching all the way back here for that one, you'll learn something about yourself that day. Ready to demonstrate?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Alright. Private Brull is in position for the training practice. He has the action open, and he has one of the practice end block clips loaded in his belt. When I say the word ping, he will rapidly reload his rifle. Ping! Just like that. With more practice, you get quicker and quicker each time. And to reset, you just eject the clip, put it back in your belt in a new position, and try again. If you're a left-handed or individual, sometimes it takes a little bit more practice to figure out exactly how to make this work.
Ask me how I know that.
Right? Everything was designed for right-handed during the war, so you could either be right-handed or wrong-handed, in my opinion.
Yeah, even if you were left-handed, you'd learn how to do it right-handed, because loading this left-handed is a pain. I did it once, and when I use the grand, I'm right-handed now.
Alright, you ready to roll?
Yeah, you gonna do another standing, or?
Whatever you want to do.
Alright, I can do standing, or I can kneel down, take a step back, whatever.
I've spoken to it enough, I think that'll be fine.
Okay.
Ping! Even better, look at that. Fantastic. Thank you, Private Brull. With that, that pretty much gives you a very brief overview of the primary rifle of a U.S. Army soldier during World War II. Like I said, I highly recommend looking for the Grand, but there are other options as well. Then, if you want to go the extra mile, like I mentioned before, the Thompson, the BAR, the 03A4, and I think there's a
grease gun.
Grease gun, depending on what time frame and what unit you're at. Ultimately, you can't go wrong with a Grand. But if you're going for a specific style, a specific impression or unit, maybe the unit that you're joining may have some better guidance for you. But this is the best thing you can choose from right out of the gate. Alrighty. Sounds good?
Yep.
Thanks, y'all. Till next time.